Mr. Ganesaraman K. Mr. Ganesaraman is working as Vice President and heads Global Internal Audit at 24/7 AI. He is passionate about creating a positive community impact, leads 24/7's corporate social responsibility initiatives as a CSR trustee. Previously, he spearheaded the development and management of information systems. In addition to his technology acumen, he is also an astute financial leader with a proven ability to turn around P&L and increase operating profits. He has earlier worked at GE Healthcare, Vistion, and Lucas TVS. Mr. Ganesaraman has submitted his PhD thesis on entrepreneurship at the Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, and is a qualified cost accountant from ICWAI Institute. He has completed his PGDBA from Loyola Institute of Business Administration with triple gold medals and is an alumnus of Bharati Southern University, where he secured a gold medal for topping the university. It is my pleasure to welcome him today, and I request Ms. Shilpa to please formally welcome Mr. Ganesaraman. We look forward today to his talk on business model canvas. And with that short introduction, I hand over the stage to him.
Thank you all. Hope you are able to hear me well. And it's my great privilege to be here at MSRUAS Institute again after a month of break. And I'm so honored to be here. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about the business model canvas. So I think that's where the last continuum I thought will continue. Yeah. Right. So first, I just would like to very quickly talk about my organizational affiliations before I move into the topic. First, to start with, my organization where I'm doing the value add is the 24/7.ai. We are into uniting systems of intelligence with the systems of engagement and providing a better customer experience. We deal with the end customers of our clients, and we can provide the conversational AI, the intent prediction and journey management for our end customers. So we have very powerful platform which does this for us. And then we have a systems of engagement through omni-channel service strategy, meaning the end customers can come through any channel, and then we will be able to service them. How do we deliver that? We have various channels, and with that channel, we can connect with our clients' systems, be it an ERP system or a IT service management system or a human resource system or an enterprise resource management system. We will be able to connect and then deliver effective customer service. In the customer service space, we are very unique in terms of offering innovative solutions. If you could see here, there are 118 patents that we have got already. And to talk about it, we are serving 184 customers, clients rather, I would put it, 184 clients across the globe. And then the number of volumes that we are dealing is in either millions or in billions. So that way, we are offering the best customer experience to our clients, their end customers also. Just to talk about one more thing, as Professor Kadambi was talking about, I work under the supervision of Professor M.H. Balasubramania, and my focus area was tech startup failures in India. So as he was talking about, if you could observe, the entrepreneurial journey is not an easy one. It has multiple challenges. And then how do we understand a failure, right? So I have attempted to look at it from three different perspectives. First, why the startups are failing? What are all the causal attributes? The second one being the life expectancy. How long a startup survive in our ecosystem? What shall be done or what needs to be focused so that the life expectancy of a startup can improve? And the third one is in terms of exits. What do we mean by exit? The startup has to exit successfully, or if there was a failure, there will be some amount of repercussions to the startups, and then startups exit from the market. Either they abandon it or they go for a M&As or go for a new start. There are various ways of exiting. Similarly, not only the startup should exit, the entrepreneur also should find a way of exiting. How do he get back? Whether he's creating his next startup, whether he's going for another salaried job, or whether he's becoming a freelancer. So those aspects also I have studied, and I have recently submitted my thesis, and I'm waiting for the defense. So with this affiliation, let me move on to the topic for the day. So it's almost after a choice. So I just thought first let us engage in a conversation before we start. Let's start with a story, right? All of us are ready to hear a story, right? Instead of boring some presentation. So what is the story about? Here is a conversation between three people. The conversation is between my hotelier friend and me. I visited his hotel. My friend was so proud. Hey, the business is running very successfully. We are doing great. And then he wanted to show that the people under him are not that great. Maybe, I don't know. So he called one boy and then showed, hey, before that, he told me, hey, the cognitive ability is different. You will observe it. Fine, I said, fine. Then, in front of the boy, he put a 10 rupee note and a 5 rupee coin. He asked him to pick the bigger one. The boy silently picked that 5 rupee coin and then left. Then my friend smiled at me. Do you understand why I am here? Why he is there? I was perplexed. What is happening? This boy seems to be reasonable. He's doing everything normal, but he has picked a 5 rupee coin and then silently walking out. That inquisitiveness is there, right? So the next day I visited the hotel when my friend was not there. Fortunately, I was able to talk to this boy who was working there. I just went and initiated a conversation and asked him, hey, don't you know the difference between 10 and 5, which is big? He said, yes, obviously I know 10 is big. And I was wondering, then why did you pick the 5 rupee coin yesterday? Can you guess his answer? I want answers.
Wanted to impress the boss, showing that he's not very greedy.
Okay. Maybe, but
The 10 rupee note was gone.
Oh. See the imaginations. What else? What else could be? What else could be? I meant to get that answer. Huh? Okay, maybe. One more.
The value of the matter of 5 rupees coin is more than the value of paper at the 10 rupees note.
Not so. Okay, let me just. Sorry. Yeah.
5 rupees heavier than 10 rupees.
Good, see the answers. But the boy answered me and then said, Ganesh, the day I pick that 10 rupee, this game will stop.
Okay.
You understand? Every day I earn 10 times 5 rupees, which is twice my salary. So now he had a smile on his face. I understand. So now who is the businessman here? You understand it, right? So that's what my friends okay, then they need to play the game. You understand? The day I pick this 10 rupees, the game will stop. I will not get my 5 rupees again. 10 times if he calls and then give me 5 rupees, I'm happy. Right? So this boy is a great business guy. Right? We all understand it? With this, why I'm talking about this particular thing, you will understand revenue is very important for a business. Right? Without revenue, you cannot sustain. You cannot, we can think of profits only when we have revenue, right? So that's the reason I just thought we will start with this story, right? And we have already spoken about Professor Kadambi has spoken about startup. First thing is, it has to establish a repeatable and a scalable business model. First, before we get into what is a business model, first let us talk about what is a business plan. In Management Institute, in commerce, we are all known in terms of understanding what is a business plan. So, in terms of collecting your thoughts, how I'm going to earn my revenue, where and all I'm going to spend. So you put certain assumptions and then say, hey, this is how I'm going to be profitable. All of us, as a commerce student or management students, we prepare the business plans, right? We validate our ideas. But how a business model is different. Let us talk about it. So from the business plan to the business model, what is the differences? We try to understand the interconnection between the various components. Your business plan will be an isolated islands. It can be islands. It may not be getting connected. Whereas in a business model, when it becomes a business model canvas, we are able to connect the ideas, whether things are flowing seamlessly, whether my ideas will work, that we will be able to validate, right? And this is the most interesting stuff in terms of a business model can really tell us how the organization as a startup or a bigger organization is creating a value and then delivering and then capturing the value to the end customer. So Professor Kadambi also was talking about it is the customer who needs to be taken care. So the customer focus comes in when we deliver value. So that's what I just wanted to drive upon. So now one more question. We understand that the business model is going to be there. So every corporate or a startup, will they have only one business plan? It needs to be put on stone and then written somewhere. Do we all agree? Do we need one plan only? What is that? How many we need? Huh? How many? Backup plan should be there. Okay. Then what else? 3. Why 3?
In case something goes wrong.
Very good. So let me put it simply. Till we realize the value is getting added to the client, the end customer, you can iterate it, deliver value. When do you see that the value delivery? Can I deliver value with no money in my pocket? Till you become profitable, till my business becomes profitable, you keep iterating. There is nothing wrong in it. Don't get into that like, okay, the plan keeps changing. If there is a plan, it is meant for change, but at the same time, there should be some rational, right? So here I talk to you about the business model. Yes, it has to be there, but at the same time, it needs to be iterated at a regular frequency. Don't do it. I get up from the right side of my bed, I change it, and then left side, one more change. It should not be. Rather, it should be a planned event, and then have a periodic reviews of your business model till you realize the value is getting added to the customer, you are profitable, right? With this outset, are we ready to get into the business model canvas? That's the next question. So first, I'm going to talk about the business model generation. Here, I'm going to be focusing on Alexander Osterwalder's business model generation. So the key questions he's asking about the spirit of an entrepreneur. And then are we ready to create the value? Are we ready to do the innovation? So finally, whether it is delivering value, if the question is yes anywhere, we shall use this particular tool. It can be for any of our journey, individual journeys also, and it can be for a startup, or it can be for an organization, it can be for a function. You can use this tool at different places, right? So with this quick introduction, I thought I will introduce you the building blocks of business model canvas. To start with, there are going to be 3 components I will be talking about. First one being the desirability and the feasibility and viability. Let me put it very simply. What does it mean? First, in terms of desirability, whether the customer really wants it. Many times, we are very much passion driven when it comes to an entrepreneurship. We keep building something which no one wants, or nobody ready to pay for it. So are we building the product and services which is required by the market? Who is going to pay for it, right? So that comes when it comes to the desirability. While delivering the value, are we delivering the value and at an economically feasible cost? Are we burning money, or are we delivering value while delivering the value? So that's going to be the next question that we will be asking about. And if we can address the desirability question and feasibility question, then what we will be left with in terms of the viability, whether it is worth pursuing it, right? So a lot of reflection when we do with these 3 questions, then we will be able to understand whether we are on the right path, or the business model requires tweaking. Should I do one more revision? So we will be able to understand it and deliver the value to the business. Are we ready to understand these components now? In another 20 minutes, I will take and try to be on time, Shilpa, by 11:45. Yeah. Right. So under the business model canvas, there are going to be 9 different components, starting with the value proposition, going on the desirability side in terms of understanding what are all the various components in terms of customer segment, channels of delivery, and the customer relationship. Then, when it comes to the feasibility components in terms of the key resources, what are all the assets which are required, and what are all the ongoing deliverables, the operational components which are required, and then who are all my partners in the delivery, we will understand, so that we will understand the cost structure. If we understand these 2 components, then we will be able to see that we are able to understand the revenue stream and the cost structure, and then whether the business is making money, right? So this is how he has put it together in terms of understanding the interlinkages between the various components. That is what we are going to see. So I will be talking about individually one by one. To start with the value proposition. First, this is one of the desirability elements. There are many questions which comes. So the product and services that we are delivering now, are they creating value to the customer? So we are going to look at customers into multiple segments. So for every segment of customer, are we adding value? So how do we know that we are adding value? Ask those queries. So if we are going to put ourselves with these queries, then we will find out what we need to tweak in terms of the modes of delivery. So the value can be in terms of quantitative. Hey, here I go, I get faster service. Right? Here I go, I get my price, which is going to be cheaper. Can it be qualitative? Yes, it can be qualitative. Hey, I like the ambience. I like the experience. Right? So the value can be added in multiple ways. It can be quantitative or it can be qualitative. And then there can be newness. While entrepreneurs are known for their innovation, so they can bring something new, right? And they can talk about performance. Yes, I deliver the better performance, right? If you look at it, the internet, the way the plans are coming out, where they are talking about everything about performance, right? And in terms of customization, how I can offer the customization, which will create the value, the design, the price point, the cost reduction, the risk reduction. There are many things which can be delivered in terms of value addition, which can convenience. Sitting at my home, I can order any food which I want, right? So all this accessibility and usability, the value proposition is coming when it comes to the various types of delivery. So the product and services, if it is value adding, the customers are going to be with you. Moving on to the next point in terms of the customer segments, right? So whom are we creating this value for, right? So when the question is getting answered in terms of, are we going to target only the B2B segment? Are we going to target masses in terms of B2C segment? Are we going to do government business, right? We shall segment the market and then design our product. There are some people who can do a B2B and a B2C together, right? And identifying the niche and then operating with that niche, you can be super profitable also. Segmenting the market and then the diversification. You look at Amazon, they started as the marketplace, eventually turning out to be delivering services in terms of offering so many. I can buy my storage space, I can buy server space, I can buy anything, right? So the diversification, you can create a value. So you can have, when it comes to the business model canvas, you need not be restricted by one major business. You can have your multiple, you can branch out, and then you can have create some more value and create one more business model canvas for you, which can really be totally value adding for the organization. So the multi-sided market, there are going to be, I can cater to this segment, I can cater to this segment. You can get into any segments that you want as long as you can manage the game. So moving on to the channels, what are all the modes of delivery? Whether it is going to be direct or indirect, whether I'm going to have partner, do I need to do everything on my own? Not required. right? Swiggy, if you take, or Zomato, if you take, they just connect with the best of the restaurants and then deliver, right? And you take any courier services, they are into direct services. I'm just trying to differentiate between direct and indirect from the services side, right? So reach your customer segment differently. Make your channel available for your customers differently. Enable them, right? That's what we are talking about when it comes to the desirability. And the next important thing is in terms of the customer relationship. So it is how I'm going to maintain and establish this relationship, which is very important, right? So on that specific trend, whether it is going to be transaction, only for this transaction, I'm associated with that. Then the relationship doesn't require much of an investment. Whereas when it's going to be long term, I will be putting more efforts to ensure that if it is going to be a repeatable customer, I will be putting a lot of efforts to retain him so that he's happy, so he feels the value, right? And in terms of the offering multiple self-service, automated services, there are many things in terms of personal services, right? And in terms of communities, whether if you look at the software development, what is happening currently? You need not have to everything the organization need not have to do. There is a communities. If you look at it, SAP or Oracle, everything that organization need not have to deliver to the user base. Rather, there are communities which is building things on their own, the connectors, the APIs, everything. So we can make that relationship stronger amongst our users itself and then create value, right? And co-creation. We need not have to worry about only we adding the value. Overall can be our partners. If you look at it, Toyota has started this in a big way, right? Their supplier base, they didn't compete with them. They really made them part of their game, right? Wherever Toyota goes, their suppliers come, right? So that kind of a great arrangement you can have when it comes to the co-creation, how we are going to innovatively deliver those solutions. That's becoming very important. And when it comes to channel, please remember that the cost of switching is, you should know. What is, if you keep that cost of switching, if you are able to do it at a higher level, then your customer is retained. That means you have to create and deliver the better value so that the switching cost, the customer thinks about it and then stays with you. So it's going to be a great value add for him. Moving on. Now we are moving into the feasibility side, and the first one being the key resources. So all of us are commerce graduates, right? Or some of us at least. Yes? What are the two different types of costs? Absolutely, right? So fixed cost is used for what? It cannot be changed. Very good. Okay, it is fixed. So what is it? It is used to create value over and again. So you can use that resource, keep creating value. So what is the variable cost? You consume it. So for the next consumption, you require once again that portion of the value addition to come in, right? So in terms of key resources, we are talking about physical, this kind of an infrastructure availability, making it available, the physical environment, the physical infrastructure which is required, the intellectual properties. In terms of patents, in terms of software, in those areas, we need to create that. Recently, I was having a conversation with my HR L&OD head. How human is an asset. Don't treat human as a headcount. Treat human as an asset. Then you know what is the skills and value addition. Then you will be able to see them as an asset. Don't count them as a people, or don't count them as some cost. That was his way of thinking. So there is definitely a merit in terms of, Infi has started doing that at one point in time. I'm not sure whether they are continuing that. How do we see humans as a valuable assets so that they can create that value addition and then come out with that innovation? That's what we are talking about. Yes, definitely in terms of financials, whether I have the required assets to take care of my future. So that is also pretty important. So assets which are required for getting the business to sustain. So that's what here we are talking about when it comes to the key resources. Then the next thing is we are talking about the key activities. Here just I want to quote one of my friends who was leading a B2C startup. He was running a food tech, basically. First, he has established infrastructure. With all the infrastructure, can you run your food tech? What is required? Manpower to deliver every day. Ganesh, whether we like it or not, 4 a.m. in the morning, my gas stove should be on. I need a person to turn it on so that then only all my deliveries, which will start at 7 a.m. There are my customers who are waiting. So if I need to service them, then here I'm talking about the activities. So earlier we were talking about the fixed cost. Here I'm talking about the variables, doing it in a routine basis. The moment you get into a routine activity, we have become little tired. How we are going to deliver value in each and every transaction you look at it, then understanding that particular activity and then delivering, building mechanisms so that it consistently delivers. Can you say that the last customer was served well and then you need not have to be served well? Can you say that? Do we even accept it when we go and then get service there? No, right? So each and every transaction needs to deliver value to the customer. So that is how the activity. So between resource and an activity, what we need to differentiate is activities will have a customer engagement component in every delivery, every transaction that we do. So that needs to be looked at. Whereas in terms of resources, once it is set up, yes, things are in place. We shall manage it. So the importance of activities, continuous production mode, and problem solving, whether the platform can deliver repeatedly to the customers, that's what we will be looking at it when it comes to the activities. Then in terms of partners, here I was emphasizing, need not have to look at only ourselves as a delivery person, rather how we shall effectively leverage the channel partners who can do a segmented activity efficiently. Use them. You need not have to do everything yourself. I was quoting the story of Toyota, right? So similarly, we can leverage how other person's ability to deliver certain things skillfully, we shall make use of it. So making them part of the delivery is very important. And then creating that value so that they see the value, that's what we can do it when it comes to the key activities. Then the next one, which is more important, we all now at least understand the importance of revenue streams, right? Yes? There are multiple modes in which revenue can come, right? Like that boy who was not worried about, was smart enough to take care of that 5 rupees 10 times a day, right? So here we are talking about, it can happen through a platform, through an asset sale, or it can be an usage fee, licensing. There can be an advertising fee. You have to see how revenue accrues in every transaction. Typically, I would put it this way. It cannot be left, revenue cannot be left unattended. I normally call revenue as an elixir. What is elixir? Elixir is something which it's like, okay, it gives you your life, nectar, right? Right. So without a revenue, an organization cannot sustain. Definitely profits are also required. Those things, we will talk about it next. So revenue is the importance of revenue, we cannot undermine it. My CEO will always say, cash is the king, right? Professor Padambi was talking about, right? In terms of cash flow. So definitely, we need to understand the flow of revenue for which every opportunity, when there is a value add, the customer will be willing to pay for it. You need to just tap that, right? If you look at Indigo, what they are doing, to occupy a window seat, you have to pay for it. To occupy a aisle seat, you have to pay a little less for it. If it is a middle seat, okay, you can take it free, right? People can come out with these ideas. Have you ever thought about it earlier? No, right? So wherever possible, if there is a value addition, if we can tap, there is some value addition, then we will be able to find a revenue model. So at every point in time, when you are designing something, and then when you are adding value to the customer, please make sure that do not miss out on revenue. When it comes to the business side, I will always say that every entity should be profitable. You cannot leave that business. But when it comes to the CSR side, yes, definitely there needs to be charity. But don't mix business and charity. They are two different things, right? So we should definitely compartmentalize things and then look at it. And when it comes to revenue, use every possible opportunities to make your revenue stream established so that your long-term sustenance of the business is ensured, right? And advertising or brokerage fees. So you can generate cash from the customer. There is nothing like it. Otherwise, you have to look at your one source of fund, investor fund, and then try to compensate provide various things to customers from the investor funds. or the sources of money, unless you are profitable, and then the acquired source of finance can never sustain the business in the long run, right? Rather, if it is going to be the own source of fund in terms of that particular entity, then the sustenance of that business will be much longer. You will be able to take that business to a profitable state sooner, and then the sustenance will continue, right? So that's what I just wanted to emphasize here. And in terms of cost structure, thank you about on the fixed cost and variable cost, right? So definitely knowing the cost structure is extremely important. If we need to be profitable, unless otherwise we know what are all our costs, we can't even think of the profits. So how to price will be determined only when we know about the costs, right? So in terms of understanding how to deliver that value, and if the focuses are going to be on cost, we will definitely be delivering the better value and the economies of scale and the economies of scope. Anybody want to differentiate? Any economic student here? Okay, since there are no economic students, I will leave that question for the next presentation maybe, right? Okay, so understand the cost, which is really going to get you the profit. So now we have looked at all 9 elements of the Osterwalder. So then I just thought we will put it together with a small example, right? I just took the case of yoga. When you are practicing yoga, then you understand it's a great big market itself, right? When you are dealing with, it's a multi-billion-dollar market as of now. So we try to put it, what is the value add I'm giving? What are all the customer segments? So how I'm going to maintain the customer relationship? What are all the various channels in which I will reach? I'm just saying this can be done. This business model canvas can be done for any product or service. That's the reason I have chosen this. You go to web, then you will find for Apple it is available, for Tesla it is available. You can find it for any bigger organization or for a smaller organization. And you can create it for your own organization, whatever that you are coming out, right? So you can look at the various key resources, key activities, and the partners who are going to be part of this. Then finally, the revenue stream and then the cost structure. So there are going to be a couple of new elements which are getting introduced. That also I just thought I will leave you with in terms of the social and environment benefit and the social and environmental cost. Why it is important? Do all of us need to be worried about the society also a little? Yes or no? Right? So that is what we are drawing a lot from, right? So we should definitely be giving it back to the society. At least for the future generation, we should save some resources and then leave it with them, right? Yes, definitely. It is so important that we just don't consume everything what we were provided, and at least for our future generation, at least leave something for them. Currently, we are running in a mode that there is no tomorrow. Rather, try to look at it. The humanity is going to survive for a long duration, right? So it is imperative, whatever we do, we don't cause more damage to the society's resources. Rather, we conserve it, we don't abuse it, and that way, whether we can take care of the society in a bigger way. Good. So I just thought I will put this together and then talk to you about what are all the benefits now this can give. Start with, these are all the various benefits which I'm seeing. Can I strategize? Yes, definitely with this we can do. Whether we are currently adding value, we can evaluate the current business model, we can propose a new business model. So we will be able to do that. Co-creation. Can I create a new segment? Can I partner with somebody and then do some co-creation? Yes, it is possible. You can do that. And can I bring visibility to what I'm doing with a dashboard? Absolutely, it is possible. So you can do a dashboard. And can I expand my thought process? Can I do a portfolio of offering? Yes, it is possible. And in terms of understanding competition and customers, best thing is not only do the value stream for you, your organization, rather try to do the value stream for your competitor. Then you will understand where they are making the difference. Are they making difference in the channel? Are they making difference in the relationship building? Are they making difference in the key resources or activities? So our value proposition itself, then it will be more revealing if you, with an open mind. If you are going to defend that, like, okay, I'm doing better than my competitor, then there is no need to put that, right? So most of us will attempt to do that. Yes, I'm doing better. That without doing a business canvas, you can say that, right? Rather, I'm requesting you. So if you are in a customer service space, try to understand this with a lot of open mind and then understand it. Then you will be able to deliver it. And when you are having a budding with a great idea, when you are having innovation and then the new idea generation at the time of new idea generation, then you can make use of it. And many times what happens is, in terms of alignment, there are always issues in corporates or startups or any organizational setup. So there are many questions. The questions when there are greater than two human beings itself, alignment is a bigger problem. Okay, how many of you are married? I'm not asking any specific questions, okay? Or I'm not asking you to reveal any stories there. Rather, I'm just telling, okay, when there are greater than two human beings, I'm not scaring any new youngsters not from getting married. Okay? I'm happily married for the last 21 years. So, so what I'm talking about is alignment is basically if we are able to see bring that alignment amongst our team members, amongst our colleagues, sometimes if required with your boss also, right? Somebody wanted to pick the coin for the boss, sake of boss, right? So need not have to be. We can be value driven, not. So in terms of alignment, and when there is an opportunity for investing or an M&A or an exit also, you can do this. So this is going to be a great tool. Normally, I try to do a workshop for a full day on business model canvas. So teach them for first 2 hours and then subsequently proceed with the branching them into teams, and then they doing this workshop for about 8 hours minimum. But today we have to complete this in 40 minutes, thanks to Shilpa. So, so there is a value delivery has to happen within 40 minutes. There is a CTQ which was put in place, right? So with this, thank you very much for the opportunity. And I hope I have done justice in terms of time, but over to you for questions. Maybe take a few more minutes. What do you guys for questions? Yeah.
A nice session. Thank you very much. I'm not a management guy, so I don't know much about it. But anyway, just to know a few things. Are there any metrics, say, to compare between two business models of the same area? Let's say?
Absolutely.
Must be there.
Yes.
So let's say, for example, ratings. Suppose if given two business models to evaluate, the person who is evaluating should give a rating. So what is the basis for that? Are there any benchmarks?
Absolutely, we can definitely do that. There are, I think there are tools beyond business model canvas. We can use business model canvas also. There are few metrics. I will suggest a tool. I'm relatively an expertise on Six Sigma also. So Q matrix is the one thing where you can compare on a scale. You can prioritize the various attributes. So I can share that with you, and then you will be able to do that comparison. You can take the views from multiple people and then see how they differentiate also. So there are techniques which are available to compare. You can see between people how their value addition is differing, all those things. There are calibration metrics, calibration tools are also available. I think that's your question more stems to that area.
Yeah. So if the implementation happens in the same way that's defined,
No.
So it's going to be a successful thing. Is that takeaway?
Absolutely. I would say it will at least more revealing for you in terms of understanding, are we delivering the value? Or are we going to be investing more on costs, not on profits? So it will give an overall visibility in terms of the interconnection, the value delivery to the customers. So that's the aspect which I see here. Right. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Any questions?
No? Thank you. Thank you. Can you move on? Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, sir. I think they didn't ask any question, but probably in the MBA second semester, they will have these questions in their question paper, for which they will be marked. So they should be prepared for this. I think, yes. And I think this was a wonderful session for them to understand. And it was like a bridge course for you people, because this is what we're going to teach you people in the second semester of ED, Entrepreneurship Development. And we exhaustively use this for a week for them to understand the whole, so one by one, the components of the business model canvas. So thank you so much.